Welcome to the Bridges of Meaning European community. This conversation is between me and Tomasz. Tomasz is from Poland, he's a railway worker, and we talked about sin and the internal life. Is evil necessary? And the tragedy versus evil, as Peterson presented. Then we touched a little bit about the war in Ukraine, propaganda and how it's influenced us, and our bias about democracy. Those are the topics, but what really touched me from this conversation was a small topic that we covered, which were about how to be a better employee. And Thomas mentioning that he wouldn't hire himself in the past, and now he changed a little bit his ways, and he trying to do the work that nobody else want to do, and how it changed him and changed the environment around him. And just that topic touched me so much. I still think about it. Well, the conversation was 3 days ago, but in the mornings when I walk my dog, I think about what he said, and it really dug in a deep place inside me and trying to do something and develop into something more. And I found it really, really touching and really important for me personally. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and goodbye. So,
Yeah, it works for Paul Vanderplay.
yes. And Thomas, you are from Poland, right?
Right.
Where are you from Poland?
Opole. It's
Where?
west of Poland, yeah.
Okay, no, on the western side.
Near the or right side of Poland if you go to Lando, yeah. But Lando is on the wrong side of Germany.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a trip.
You're flying to
No.
Landau?
Oh no, I have to go to a train, right?
Yes.
Have to experience Deutsche Bahn. I'm gonna experience plenty. It's gonna be like 4 trains.
Wow.
Some local train. No, it's a fast train to Berlin, from Berlin to Mannheim, and then local trains.
Yeah, that's your local styles.
13 hours.
13 hours. Wow. For me, it will be so cool. Well, 3 hours to wait at the airport. But for me, from my house to the Frankfurt airport, so it's 6 hours, something like that. 3 hours of flight and 3 hours of waiting in lines. And then Michael, also somebody who's coming to Landau, is going to pick me up from the airport, and I'm going to spend 2 hours driving to there.
Go to Frankfurt, right?
I'm flying to Frankfurt. Yes.
Cool.
And well, this is not the first time we spoke, although you don't remember the last time. And
I
also
kind of remember. I think.
Yeah.
Did we spoke about psychedelics? Was that?
I don't remember.
Was that you?
I watched the video, your video, and it was 8 months ago. And 8 months ago, it was more or less when I joined Discord. Maybe something.
It was soon after.
Yeah, and you probably were, after your conversation with Paul, you were a lot more on the Discord.
Yeah.
And this.
Well, I wasn't a lot, but
more.
I was. Yeah.
More. Yeah. And I watched your conversation with Paul, and I like your dynamic between the two of you.
I didn't watch it, so I take your word for it.
You didn't watch it?
Oh, I don't watch it. I would not watch it either. This one.
Oh,
I can't. The way I see myself is like, there is people don't like to watch themselves on pictures, and stuff, and on video, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't see what you see.
Of course, you see.
I see something. It's this
projection, a certain, like you put a lot of memories on top of this image. You criticize it in a certain manner.
What you see is more true than what I would see.
You think so? You think?
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, because I have this. It's what's the word? Disruption, not disruption. It's distorted. It's distorted for me. You just see me as everybody see me, I think, but I see myself different. That's why people don't like to see themselves in pictures. Everybody else is, it's just like how you look like, and if it's you just, it's weird for you.
Yes, but the way that I see you as a person who just met you, and the way that your best friend will see you also be different. So
but what I'm seeing is just
and you're seeing something different. So I will say that there is a difference between how every single person that encounters you see you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, but you said like that there's a certain truth. There's more truth to that.
Yeah. Because I can see myself this way, just like a stranger. I don't see stranger. Just I don't know. It's weird.
Yes. I actually trained myself to do that. I used to record myself, just to record my thoughts on the phone, and I couldn't listen to them.
Oh yeah.
And I actually trained myself. Like like how to listen to myself. So I just listened I said to myself, I will listen to myself for 2 minutes. And that's it. Like it's stop. Although the recording is really, really long. So I like listen to it, and like I don't recognize the voice. I don't recognize, like, really, I doing so many and during my conversation. And then I stop, and then I wait for a week. And then I expose myself a little bit more, and I do the slow exposure guy, as Jordan Peterson is advising. And
that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I thought about.
Yeah, and slowly I got more accustomed to hear my own voice. Although, as you mentioned in your comments, I still cringe when I need to listen to those conversations and edit a little bit.
In my comments? Did I comment it?
No, not comments on the videos, but you send me a message that I listen to you to a normal speed.
Oh yeah.
I cannot listen to myself in normal speed. I'm slow. I feel that in my head the thoughts are running really, really fast, but when I'm speaking them, it's really slow, and I feel like I'm very long between the one thought and the other thought, and I feel cringy. And I want it to be faster, because I know how I think really, really fast about those things.
So we who watch you, we know better. Believe me, we just know better. You have distorted vision of yourself.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's I need to stop recommending people to watch those kind of conversations.
I know you may, but I tried actually. Nah. I slowed it down.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And it also depends on the familiarity of the speaker. So, for example, to Joe Rogan, I can listen to 1.8 speed. And it's really, really easy for me, because I know his tempo, I know his words, I know how he makes sentences. To Jordan as well, to Paul as well, because I listen to them a lot. But if they interviewing somebody new, that I need really to listen to him, I need it a slower speed, because there's a new person and I need to get used to his rhythm.
That's how you watched all videos of Joe Rogan.
That's
a good part of your life.
I actually watched it in normal speed, and only a few years ago I sped it up. But yeah, it's a big part. I calculated it, and it was something like 10 months straight that I listened to him.
You're still watching him regularly?
No, not at all. No,
Louis C.K. was before yesterday. I have to watch this.
Oh, okay, yeah. because they were talking about making something for, I don't know,
Ever.
10 years, forever. And I really like
before yesterday. I gonna watch it today.
I also want to watch it now. Let's finish the conversation and watch the Louis C.K. together.
Yeah. And another one, Lex Fridman. You know Lex Fridman, right? Yeah. So Jordan Peterson was yesterday.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So now we have something to watch.
There's two
I like
interesting.
Lex. Yeah.
Yes and no. About Lex Fridman, I have a mixed opinion, because Sherry, I think Sherry said it in one of the Paul's videos when they done together, or Karen. I think it was Karen. And when Karen said it, it just something changed in me about Lex Fridman, and she said that he has certain issues about himself, and he strive for status, and he won't interview somebody who is not a CEO. And it wasn't like a criticism of Karen. She just made it as an observation, and I agree with that completely. So he won't do something like a rando conversation that I'm doing with you right now.
No, that's not his thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the end, and that's it. I just said, oh, now I understand few of his problems and what he brings to the table. He still brings a lot of this Eastern European mentality, and really thoughtful, and like art, and like music, and ask the questions of the meaning of life every single person that he interview.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like that one.
Yeah, I like those, but there's still this element of, unless you achieved the higher status of your field, why should I be talking to you?
Well, that's his thing. That's his niche.
Yeah,
I don't know. No, it's not a niche, but
yeah, it's something.
Yes. Yeah. But Paul do it. Yeah. Joe Rogan do it. Actually, yeah, not.
Yeah, Joe
really,
Rogan.
But he have his friends, just his friends.
Yeah.
Not really randos. Yeah.
Thomas, can you tell me how you got to Bridges of Meaning? Because you didn't cover it that much with Paul in his conversations.
I started watching Paul, and there was a link. I joined in.
Yeah, but go back. If you started with how you came across Jordan Peterson,
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. You were listening to Joe Rogan for many years. Yeah.
Since Peter Boghossian. Peter Boghossian was first one. Because he was on Dave Rubin, and then I watched him on Joe Rogan. He mentioned Joe Rogan there. I watched him on Joe Rogan. I was hooked on Joe Rogan. Yeah, and then there was Peterson, but he's a. So he was talking about this bill in Canada, yeah, and at the end of his video, or last 40 minutes, he talks about religion, and I was fully atheist by that time. And I was curious. I was actually curious how this guy, because intelligent guy, I like him already because we had this conversation, and was actually curious how he squared this circle. And he changed my mind. I was like, I can be wrong about that. Yeah, so that's...
It wasn't. You're right, because he did mention, no, I'm a really religious person.
But that was a moment. Yeah, I was like shocked.
Yeah,
like,
for me, it was different, because for me, he really explored the element of understanding evil. And he talked a lot about the gulags, and the fact that he teaches his students that if they were in Nazi Germany, there will be Nazis. Like it's in them, and it's not something possible. It's a possibility. It's a
bigger than we think.
Yeah, and that's 40 minutes at the end. He explored those ideas, and he presented them symbolically, and explored the evil that lurks inside all of us is touched me as well. For me, the moment was a little bit later at the end, when he said, well, he hypnotized me. He hypnotized me, like thinking about this evil. And at the end, when Joe Rogan asked him, so what do you want, how people could help you? with the problem of Bill C16, and he said, just take, like, make your own life better by cleaning your room, by being a better person. And you see the participation in Joe Rogan, like he's like joining him. Yeah, people should clean their room. And you see this excitement. And in that moment, he kind of broke this hypnosis that he put on me as a speaker. And then I just stopped and started doing stuff like, who is this person? Like, I want to watch more videos of him. I maybe want to understand what this program of the self-offering is.
There weren't many then.
Yeah.
So I was watching everything, like Kathy Newman.
Watching
it as it happened.
Although no, there were his lectures, and I started almost immediately to watch his lectures, but at the beginning they were very
already there.
They were really difficult for me at the beginning. It took me a year and a half.
Which one?
All the lectures. The lectures.
I watched I was watching what's his book name?
Maps of Meaning.
Maps of Meaning lectures, from 2017.
Maps of Meaning, everything was difficult. All the lectures were difficult, the personality and the Maps of Meaning. And it took me a while until I got used to his way of presenting the symbolic. Like, I probably were very atheistic and very defensive, and it took time until I opened myself, but I still noticed there is something very special in him.
Maps of Meaning was just flow for me. So it was easy. It was just
wow,
like in the classroom. I don't know. Yeah. It was, but I already had this concept from Yuval Harary, Sapiens. So you have this invisible world. So Yuval call it fictional. So people can create fictions, but it's not really fictions.
But Yuval Noah Harari, he's a very materialistic.
Yeah. That's why he called this invisible stuff fiction, but it's not fiction. Democracy, like democracy, companies, they are not fiction. They're just immaterial.
Yes, and he,
that was a big one for me.
Well, the fact that he's Israeli and I was in the university back then studying philosophy, and everybody talked about Yuval Noah Harari. Everybody, he was on the mind of everybody, and I'm, as being a contrarian, I said, "Oh, the fact that everybody is loving him right now, I won't read him. I don't care about him. I'm more like." No, like I don't running after like the new stuff that everybody is talking about. I'm more of those
skeptic.
I'm skeptic, and I was very skeptical. So I only read him during the pandemic. I read the Sapiens and then 21 rules about different.
Is it outdated by now? For you?
No.
For me, it was big thing, but I don't know if I would.
Sapiens was a little stale, but the 21 rules, I don't know if it's were updated. And the idea is that we entering. Well, if I need to use,
it gets wild. Yeah.
If I need to use our language, basically what he's saying in 21 predictions, 21 predictions for the 21st century is that these egregores, these beings that manipulate human just to consume them more or be involved in them more, like the algorithm and the just in the modern world will become more powerful. So this is a prediction, and he's saying that just try to be aware of that and try to raise a certain defenses against those elements. He don't give any advice of what kind of defenses, because Paul saying, oh, this defense is probably the biggest egregore there is, which is the divine. This is like the overall. So if you submit to the divine, then the lesser demons have less effect on you. Something like that. And Yuval Noah Harari don't give any advice to that. He's saying, "Oh, use your reason. Your reason will lead, and it's not that.
It's half of truth, half of a tool.
Yeah.
Reason is good, but it's half of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's the other half really, but yeah.
I think you do. I think
I just not name it. I can't name it. What do you mean? Yeah.
Well, the other part is the stories, the myths, and that embedded in religious structures. I think this is the other half, because through those stories and through those symbolism, they touches upon you without going through the reason, through the reason route. If you
it's more, it's ancient stuff. So reason is like present.
Yeah.
But this thing comes from deep. Deep. Yeah. I struggle to understand it. Yeah, I know. I kind of understand it, but
have you listened to the McGilchrist and Jordan Peterson conversation already?
No.
Not yet. Okay, not yet. Because there he talks about this like left brain and right brain. The left, like, I don't remember which side, but one of them is really trying to look at everything very like reason, or like, as we call it, like rationality, and the other part is absorbing the real world differently. I just don't have the words to say.
That's my problem. Yeah.
Tomasz, why do you want to come to Landau? What do you
have conversations like this? Yeah. Just I'm a bit worried. This estuary thing is like I'm not feeling well in bigger groups. I'm best one-on-one. One-on-one is best, but
yeah. Have you had a conversation with people on one-on-one on Discord, like we're having right now? Have you reached to people? And
no. I just tried, joining, and it's like I can't really start. If it's scheduled, it's good. We scheduled it here.
Why didn't you
reach out?
Why didn't you reach out for somebody at our community?
It's hard for me. It's like do I pick random person? I don't know if this person.
I don't know. You can choose somebody. Like I can choose somebody that is more present in the community, and you ask like, "Oh, Cassidy, like, would you like a conversation?" I really like to have conversation with people in the Discord, and maybe
it's classic shyness. Classic shyness, I guess.
Yeah. I tried to do that a lot. I got a lot of people who are just not answering me back. But I was very hungry for that for a long time in the Discord as well. Like I'm reaching for people and nobody is answering. Like, oh, I want more meaning, because in the group, in the voice chat, it's not personal. It's going a lot to the theology elements and I don't like it that much.
Hard to follow for me.
Hard to follow. Yeah, I really prefer the personal, like for you to tell me like, okay, what's happening with you, and where are you situated in life, and what do you want? Like, except the conversations with people, do you have aspirations? What do you want from Landau? And do you excited?
Not really. Oh yeah. But I feel like I'm supposed to go, and I go. It bugged me, so I made my mind too late. Really, I could have planned it better. He keeps bugging me. Well, so I go.
Yeah, you feel a certain need that is not a reason.
I suppose to. Yeah. I don't know. And
yeah, why you reach out to me and said like, okay, Daddy, I want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, you said you do it. You pick up randoms, you talk to them. So that's the thing. So I don't have to reach to you.
Yeah. I already
reached to me.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Made it easy, yeah. So here I am.
I wish more people in our community would do that. We'll say, I'm open for conversation. Just reach out to me. I wish it would happen more.
Yeah, there could be some tool for that. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
People who like list of people who like to have one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, to do a random conversation. Yeah,
maybe something like that.
Wow, that's a really good idea. Maybe I can figure something out with Matthias how we should do that. Maybe we'll start like a list of like a collective scheduling or something like that, and
maybe with subjects, you like to move.
Yeah, but then you need somebody who will police the subjects.
No. You want to talk to somebody about this, yeah. But it's one-on-one. You don't have to talk about this if you just. Nobody's policing it. People just talk or not.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it is a problem how we bridge over the shyness and over this weird thing which called the internet and avatars and nicknames, because
I think on this Discord server we do it better than anyone.
Yeah. I agree.
There are videos and stuff. Yeah,
I agree. Do you feel, because this is an interesting question to me, because I'm always interested in the opinion of people who are on the outskirts of the bridges of meaning, and
That's me.
Yeah, so me as well. I feel that way because I'm Israeli and I'm on the corner on the border of the Western world, something like that. Although maybe we are on the news and everything, but the fact that the country is Jewish, the fact that is in constant war, the fact that is just weird. It's just a weird place to live, like a Western country full of Jews in the middle of Arabs. It's just a weird place. And you kind of the same situation, so that there's this dynamic of being an Eastern European, and being an Eastern European on the Bridges of Meaning Discord. Have you had any thoughts about like those kind of elements? And
I feel like Poland is like it always was like on the border, but it's still part of the West. So we had like medieval knights with armor, and stuff. Yeah, we still had it. Yeah, there were elements from Eastern, riders, but not. We had proper knights. Yeah, so it always was past. It's on the border, but it's still part of the West, I feel.
And how about yourself?
We have no steps, right? Yeah, we have like there are on Ukraine. Yeah, so that's where it starts.
Yeah. And how you feel it playing itself in the Bridges of Meaning community?
Again,
my question is maybe why there's aren't more Polish people.
Oh, I think problem is language. Not many people speak language. English. Mine is less than perfect, yeah, but many people just don't speak at all. By the way, that's my best skill I have. I consider this one is like people are born with it. But if I don't have English, I just how much stuff I would miss out. Jordan Peterson is kind of translated. Some things are translated, but like Paul, John Verwecki stuff. No.
Peugeot,
Peugeot, yeah. I'm missing on a lot. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's another, another one is for me, Jacoo Willing. Not everybody mentions Jacoo Willing, but that's the big one for me.
For you, why is that? Why is that? Why
his advice? I changed my way I approach work. So at work I was always kind of lazy. I would never employ somebody like me. Just 5 years ago I wouldn't never employ somebody like me, and now I would.
And you attribute it to Jacoo Willing.
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly.
It's Jordan Peterson as well, but it's Jacoo Willing mainly. Because have these simple advices. So if you're part of a team and there is something to do, there is multiple things to do, and people just go do it. So you pick the one nobody wants to do. Yeah. So that's what you do. Yeah. And people just start respecting you.
Yeah,
just
very
like
fast.
You more.
It's very fast. Mm-hmm.
How I didn't know that. I was always like, I hope somebody gonna pick it up. Unless supervisor gonna tell me, hey, Thomas, you do it. Hell, yeah. But now I just, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, you then train your eye to notice the most bad thing that need to be done, and you start doing those. Yep.
It fits Peterson as well. So you find something hard and you do it.
Yeah.
It all fits together. But Jacoo have this simple advices, like that. And like take responsibility on yourself. Something goes wrong, like if you've been involved, you just you take it on you.
Yeah. You take the blame.
Yeah.
And the fact that
and solution, not just blame. You need to take blame and solution. So oh, we forgot about that. Okay. Next time I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna check the wagon. I'm gonna see if everything's in order.
And it changed your relationship with your people that you work with.
Yeah. Noticeably. I was like, just there to be there, but now we're like, I think they are happy if because we have days off. We work 5 days a week, but it's not. We work weekends, so we may be off in Monday and Friday and work week. So it's kind of random. So they are happy if I'm there. Because kind of, because there are things like there is one-man jobs. There is something to do. Just one guy has to do it. So I just go.
Yeah.
And there are things they don't like to do, and I always doing that.
Yeah.
You have this.
Yeah, and you get used to doing the those things. Yeah, it's
and you feel good. You burn more calories, but that's whatever. It's worth it. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Another one. If nobody leads, you lead. So there's no team leader, and nobody knows what to do. You kind of start to lead.
It's better to have a bad leader than no leader at all. Yeah. So if nobody's saying and nobody wants to lead, then you say like, sure, I will lead. I'll do it as badly as I can.
Yeah, but respectfully, you don't show off.
Yeah. Because what the hell do you know? Like you just stupid
can
like
you do
everybody
that?
else.
I gonna do that. Can you go there? Yeah. We do it. It's weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So 20 years old now, guys like 20 years old or 15 years old, they're getting advice like, I wish I had this advice my time.
I think it was there. You didn't listen. You didn't listen
but it was
to
hard to get to. There was no internet really when I was 20. It was beginning of the internet.
It's not that. If you listen to those people who are older and gave good advices, were always there. Were always there. We just didn't listen to them. And that's the idea, that something happened, not through the logic, but through from the other side. It came from the other side, from that said to us, okay, you should start listening to old men and their advice.
But I feel like these days there is polarization of results. So you can either you have this great people to listen to, but you have like really terrible stuff to listen to, and it wasn't. It used to be people who were more average. So you didn't have great advice. You had some good advice from older people, but now you have people like Jordan Peterson available, like Jacoo. You have this like it's higher quality of advice, I would say. And there are some terrible people. You have this whole woke stuff. Yeah. So you have this polarization. People may do really well, but can do really bad too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really liked in Jacoo Willing episodes when he brought one especially I remember the person who told his story how he fought in Afghanistan, and he done something heroic like going back and forth with his vehicle and evacuating some really bad injured people and really messed up situation. I don't remember. It's like a very famous operation that happened, and the way that Jacoo approached it with their seriousness that Jacoo brings to the world, and the seriousness that he bringing to literature, and the seriousness that he bringing to every conversation. It's very intense
in black and white,
and sometimes, sometimes, very, very, very black and whitish, but still, and just his conversation with Jordan Peterson about writing, it blew my mind. And he said like, oh, I went to university to learn English because I wanted to write. Why? Because I need to write reports. Yeah. And it's just like, I was so amazed. Jordan as well. Jordan was really, really amazed by this idea. Like, right, that's what you need. You need to convey to your men in the best way what we need to do, and you also need to explain for people higher who is good for promotion, what people need the certain elements to help. So you're becoming like a point of communication between the soldiers and the people that above you, and you just transfer those information back and forth. And that's such a good advice. I wish I will take this advice more seriously, because I'm not a good writer. Not a good writer.
I'm even worse, but I bet you. Yeah. It's worse for me. Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing to learn in the modern age, how to write well, how to convey authority through writing. It's
modern age. It used to be easier, I think. I think it's easier now.
To learn how to write well was always hard. Now there is more necessity to do it. And
more training. You from all young age, you write like text messages, then you write something.
But this is not a true writing.
Yeah, it's a start.
There is,
but I see what you mean. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Writing.
Oh yeah.
But you mentioned you sent me the video for you and Paul, and I listened to it, and you said, oh, I'd like to continue through a few of the thoughts that are raised there. And one of the main questions that you asked Paul is, what is the worst thing that can happen to humanity. And
not humanity,
but in general, in the world.
Yeah.
And the thing that you proposed, that the worst thing that can happen is less somebody who is paying attention to the world. Something like that.
Nobody is paying attention.
But when nobody...
I would call it death now. Death of everything, really. Biggest death. So if you scale death, if it's big enough, everything dies. That's the biggest death for me.
Okay, so may I use like a small philosophical story? So this is the standard question that every student in philosophy is presented in one way or another, that if a tree falls in the forest, do you hear the sound? And there's nobody there to hear the sound, is the tree fell?
I think consequences of tree falling in a forest will reach you eventually. So how strong is butterfly effect, you think? Is there something like that?
How strong it is?
Because they say you're gonna flip its wing and it's gonna be hurricane. But is tree falling down in a forest gonna affect me eventually? Because it's gonna change something. Something gonna move differently, and now consequences of it may reach me eventually.
Yes, but and it's a Petersonian point of view that everything that's happening is influencing everything. So every single decision that you make making the world worse or better. So he's taking the butterfly effect to the extreme and saying like every single tree, every single piece of plastic that you throw away and your attention like look at it and like doesn't matter, that kind of thing will come eventually and harm the world in some manner.
Sin leads to death. Was it Romans?
Sin leads to death.
The solution is
not to sin, but it's hard not to sin.
For Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ makes you. It's Romans 5?
I'm sorry, I don't know my Bible that well.
So the thing is that
I'm
the sin leads to death. It's something like sin leads to death, but through Jesus, you can avoid sin through Jesus, and then you're gonna get eternal life. And when I heard it after Paul, conversation with Paul, and just hit me. It was exactly what I was talking about to Paul. Sin leads to death, and if you scale up death, it's death of everything. So if you do bad things, wrong, evil things, if you sin, it gets you closer to this bad place, which is death. But if you follow Jesus, you avoid sin, then you avoid death, and if you avoid death forever, then you get what happens if you life, but forever. If you do it forever, eternal life.
Okay,
that's the eternal life, avoiding death forever by not sinning, by following Jesus.
But there is still a caveat to that, because sin is inevitable. Because we are fallen creatures. But when you sin, if you repent, and repentance is something that you pay attention to the sin and try to understand what you did wrong. That's a basic idea of repentance. So by doing that, it's also like I hold those of the two of those threads. But for this to work, for this understanding that you are presenting, that the worst things that can happen is that will be no life to experience the world, kind of, or like basically death. For it to hold true, it's basically, you show that the highest things is a person who is paying, like people who are paying attention to the world. So life is the most important thing. And in a materialistic point of view, it isn't the case. Because in a materialistic point of view, well, I don't know. I don't know why I went there. I'm not sure I understand.
But there is something to it. Yeah, materialists don't think. So they think they're gonna die and that's it. So they don't really care what's gonna happen later. Is there something like that?
Yeah, it's basically, I want to.
I will die anyway. So for me, this death is just me. So.
Yeah, so it's a.
But I think they're wrong. They are wrong, even in materialistic way. Because life is, I consider life to be the thing which began 3.5 billion years ago. That's the life, yeah. That's what we keep. That's very materialistic. And this life tries to survive, right? So
it's the division of cell, the copying of information.
Yeah, and it keeps going, and it's doing great job so far. But it will eventually. So life needs to spread. It's always spreading. So now humans are a way for life to spread to the cosmos, because it can't live. But we have technology now, and drives me crazy. They send this thing on Mars, yeah, this little rover, yeah. And they cleaned it up, so no bacteria gonna get there. It was, what the hell are you doing? Life tries to spread. Like, there is a way to do it, and they just try to avoid it. We don't want to contaminate Mars. Like, come on, contaminate. If something happened to Earth,
well, I can explain.
I like to have something on Mars. Some of our cousins, yeah, bacteria even, but yeah.
Don't you think they're trying to understand because they trying to see the truth, and the truth is there a bacteria on Mars or not? Is there other life form on Mars except us?
Yeah, they are afraid they're gonna come across our own life and they're gonna be confused. But can't they tell by now? Don't we have technology to say, okay, this bacteria have same origin?
Well, it depends.
It went there. Yeah.
It depends if you, like, we don't know what kind of bacteria is going to be on Mars. Maybe it's the same kind of life form. Like, there's this theory that our moon is created because of an impact between our planet, like the planet that was here before, and some other two planets colliding, and then there's the forms of Earth, and this is the moon. And one of the theories that certain bacteria can survive that kind of impact. So maybe the formulation of like those kind of, like, the life that came to this planet before it was Earth came from somebody else. It came from another place. So it can be the same. It can be like our cousins that came here long time ago. I don't know how they differentiate bacteria and see certain parallels, or can know that this is from Earth and this is not. I'm not sure. So they maybe are afraid to contaminate.
I need biologist.
I also not a biologist.
Ask Felix. You spoke to Felix. He might know.
Yeah, you're right. But Felix is a food chemist. So.
Okay. may have better idea than we are. We have
probably. But I agree with that notion that your But then imagine that you're saying, okay, we want more life in the universe, and then just Elon Musk start to build rockets with spoiled food and send it to the moon to explode on the moon, so they'll start to cover with the moss or something.
On Mars, yeah.
On Mars.
Start terraforming now.
Just take all your spoiled food and just send it to SpaceX to send to Mars.
Yeah, and pick nastiest things. Things you can't get rid of. Yeah. No, because I mean, this first cell, yeah. If we put stuff on Mars, and we all die on Earth, let's say, because some accident, this cell still have ancestors. It's still going. This life we began 3.5 billion years ago is still going on Mars.
Yeah, you're right. And even if our idea of
it's very materialistic. Yeah,
even if our idea of religious ideas don't, we cannot communicate to other civilization, and they need to develop on their own without any connection with to this Abrahamic Judaic Abrahamic Christian religions. They will still develop something very similar to that. Why? Because those religions are will be faced to reality. They will be
faced to same patterns.
Exactly. Yeah, the same patterns. So they've developed. Maybe they won't call them Christianity because they will kill the guy on some other.
But symbol. Patterns will be there.
But the patterns will be there, and they will develop in a very similar manner. So basically, it's the same theory, and there's a philosopher called Leibniz that said that we live in the best possible world. Why? Because this world is faced or combat reality. Like, there are certain alignments of patterns that is the most compatible to reality. So this is the best possible world out of all that could be imagined or could be thought about. So something like that.
It seems right. So I was wondering why. I feel like evil is necessary somehow. And if this is best possible world, then for sure. I don't understand why, though. It's weird.
Tell us more. Why do you think evil? What is your intuition say to you about evil? Why the evil is necessary?
First of all, it exists, so it somehow. Oh, I don't know if I want to go into this. I have this idea. It's evolutionary idea. Do you know about Brett Weinstein's idea about lineages?
I heard it, but I want.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that I can explain.
So your job as an organism is to procreate. Yeah, and put your genes as far into the future as you can. And my job as well. I failed, but yeah. And other people as well. Yeah, they just put their genes forward. So, and you need to cooperate with people as far as. So your kids will be fine. Yeah. So they need a group. So you just care about other people in a sense. So they're gonna help your kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you are selfish, right? It's all about your genes.
Yeah, your selfish gene.
Yeah. And Brett is worried about this, and he said, and Paul had a great video about this, because Brett thinks we are programmed to kind of kill each other, because my genes might survive. I don't care about others. Yeah, but that's wrong. I think he always only looks into future, but we are in lineages as well. So we have common ancestors. Yeah, and they program us in a way. So if you have 5 kids, so you care about what you care about is to have grandkids and grandkids, yeah? But you don't really care which of your kids gonna have kids. If one of your kids gonna sacrifice, gonna die to save others, you're fine. You're fine with that, yeah. One is Catholic priest, yeah. He has no kids, but if times are rough, you have Catholic, you have priest in your family is doing better, yeah. So he sacrifices his own genetics for genetics of his siblings. And right there, so your kids have 2 jobs. They need to they care for their own genes and they care for your genes. So they care for their siblings. So we have this programming. So if we help each other, it's in our programming. There's no problem. We don't have to kill each other.
Yeah.
Because we care. And there are billions of common ancestors.
Yeah, but
so many.
But there's a certain problem because there's when you say care, the problem is it's not, there's nobody who is deciding, because the gene itself also not a deciding mechanism. What's deciding is its adaptability to the world, and his adaptability to the world is always looks to the future, and unfortunately cannot look at the past. So it's not that just your original gene, like, because I understand, because what you're saying, basically the first life on Earth is taking care of everybody because it's a lineage. It's like continuation of a lineage.
We all do its bidding.
Yes, but every single new generation need to survive, like, to against reality. So there is no looking back, and that's the problem of the biologists. I don't think you can explain cariness through biological systems, and that's how I'm combating you using you're using Bert's argument. I also want to ask how you think to connect that to evil, and why evil is necessary.
No, so first, if you have 5 kids, they are programmed to, they have to take care of environment, but they care for each other because of programming from you. I think they're doing both. It's like this is this dynamic. They care for themselves, and we see it as evil. If somebody's selfish, it's kind of evil. Yeah? Because
if you're not caring for the lineage, then it's evil.
Yeah, you just care about your own lineage.
So when Cain killing Abel,
exactly,
then he's not caring for the lineage of Adam. He's when Cain
Cain
and Abel, when Cain killing his brother, he's kind of killing half of the lineage.
I don't have this fully figured out, but something like so. I would imagine if you have this, so you're creating your kids in a way they're gonna help each other, right? And now they do the same. So now you have tribe of people who just totally together, yeah, and they all benefit from it. And you just conquer the world because everybody gonna die is ready to die for everybody else. It's just perfect thing. They all benefit from it, yeah. But there is one guy who benefits more, and that's the guy who cares about himself. So they have no police. They don't have to police themselves, yeah. If there's a battle, everybody shows up. Everybody's brave, right? But this one guy, he gonna fake injury. He doesn't go to battle. He gonna fake injury. Everybody believes him because everybody's honest there. And he benefits more. He have more kids than others. That's the snake in the garden. You have this perfect place, but there is this guy who benefits more. Because he's the one who cares about himself, and he has more kids.
Yeah, in expense of everybody else.
Yeah, and more people like him will be in the future. If there's too many, the whole society will collapse. So there is this equilibrium happening at some point.
Yeah.
There are these people, you have to police them, but if you start get rid of them, then you don't need police. You don't police, they make more success. That's evil, yeah? And it's somehow, I don't know why, I feel like it's necessary for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, why? I know. I'm very curious because it's.
I feel like this, because this it's order and chaos. If you have only order, and everybody just is great, and everybody is helping you, I don't know. There is this variation happening
because we can differentiate between tragedy and evil, as Jordan is done. We can see, okay, when there something bad happened with the environment, this is not evil, this is a tragedy. So that when the group
well, there's a caveat,
but if the group is working together and the half of the group died because of a disease, there's nothing evil in that. This is but when somebody is acting against the group or against the interest of a group, but also we can look at the group because the in group, there's no such a like in the group. So there's this egregore of this group. This is the Leviathan of this group, as Hobbes in his book will say, that all of our society, all of our governments is basically you sacrifice yourself for this beast that called Leviathan, and this Leviathan maintains kind of order that we don't kill each other. So they're basically feeding this beast that called the egregore of this group. And there is one person who is maybe more individualistic than others, saying, no, I'm not sacrificing myself for this egregore, and I am creating my own egregore,
and he's successful at start.
Okay, so so this group will call him evil. Why? Because he is not sacrificing himself to the benefits of the group.
He's not a team player.
He's not a team player. So so we call him the group, the only group that exists will call him evil. And you're saying, okay, this is necessary. If I need to stretch my mind and to say why it's necessary, because maybe
that's intuition. I don't have solid reasons.
maybe you need a lot of competing groups, a lot of competing egregores to one another, because then it's
they explore territory.
You explore territory and you battling against a natural tragedy, so there's more potential of survivability. So basically different egregores try to cover different fields of the tragedy that happened to the world.
Could be something like that.
Okay, so if we follow this line of reasoning, then we can say, okay, so this materialistic globalist world that we live in is battling it's a huge egregore that battling famine, which will be much greater if we all lived in, I don't know, our segregated country and we fought with each other, but the community was much healthier or something. So you can argue something like that.
There's something to it, I don't know. But this tragedy, by the way, these tragedies, you can. So if you have flood and people die, it's kind of tragedy, but it's also maybe sin because you didn't build infrastructure right. So it's not, these tragedies could be.
It could be contributing.
It looks like we had no telling, we had nothing to do with this flood, but we could do something about it.
Yeah, you can combat, but some tragedies are not maybe because of people.
But be beyond our
People well, that's a good question that I tried to think about recently. Is a car accident a tragedy or an evil doing?
There is always something.
Do you think so?
Yeah. It's both. It depends how you look at it. Yeah. But there's always sin involved, I guess.
There's always sin involved. Even if the world strikes at you, it's always because of
not necessarily your own sin. Yeah.
It's not necessarily your own sin.
But it's a probability game. So if you drive your car carefully, you still may die. But if you drive recklessly, there is your chance of dying.
Or killing. Or killing somebody.
Yeah. So it's a probability game.
Okay, so what? Okay, so you just avoid the question. You're saying I don't know what kind of probability. Where is the probability scale?
So it could be both. Yeah, it's kind of both. You can do something about it, but you can't eliminate the risk.
Yeah,
there's always risk.
There's always risk.
You may just lower it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder because there is a lot of cases that like tragically you're driving in a pedestrian place and you're driving slowly, but there's some kids and somebody didn't pay attention and run to the street and you kill them and you start to blame yourself for it. Maybe you got acquitted. Maybe the judge and the human system saying to you, "Oh no, you're not guilty, and you've been in the realm of the law, but you still killed the human being, and not just a human being, but a kid who is like a raw potential, which is worse than just a human being, a grown up, because this kid is representing everything that could be." Everything that could be potentially good, and a grown human being is much more situated already in a specific part of life. So, and you blame yourself. You're saying, okay, I've done evil. I've done something bad. I've done something horrible because I killed a human being.
You analyze it, yeah.
Yeah.
But now you have to be honest with yourself. And it's like a poker. I played some poker, Texas Hold'em in my time, and you learn not to. You make good decisions and still lose, but very good decisions. So you don't judge yourself by results really. In small scale, large scale, you're supposed to win in long run if you play it right. But in short, you may play your hand perfectly and lose it. So it's like you have to be honest with yourself. Was I careful enough? If you were, you took all precautions, you were focused, and some kid ran in. You done right. It's just bad luck, kind of.
Yeah.
You need to be honest, but maybe you made some mistakes. So you're supposed to analyze it.
Yeah.
Because something bad happened. So how much fault I was? Yeah. Could I do something different? Yeah. But answer may be no. You might be like, but you got to be honest about it, because if you did something wrong, now you can learn.
Yeah.
So that's the poker analogy.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I like our thoughts about evil. Go ahead.
This necessity of evil, I feel like it's order and chaos. For some reason, we need this chaos. I don't know. I don't have it figured yet.
No, you just draw my my attention to something that occupied my mind for the last half a year, which is the war. And because I spend a lot of time on Bridges of Meaning explaining because
yourself.
Explaining, because I'm probably the only Russian in the Bridges of Meaning. So it was really,
and none are coming anytime soon.
Yeah, it will definitely stay that way, and
or maybe very welcome, I guess.
Yeah, so I tried to explain to those Americans why it's not the American fault that the Russian attack, but it doesn't matter. What I was curious to speak to you about, as well. Although I grew up in Israel, I'm still from Eastern European descent, and you yourself Eastern European, and probably there's some kind of changes that happen in the country around you that you notice certain elements, and you have some thoughts about it, if it's the immigration, if it's the war itself. How do you feel about it? And I'm just curious to ask you, because I do think that people, there not a lot of people that are listening to this, but still will listen. We'll get some ideas of how we think about it. So what is your thoughts about the war, about the immigrants, about everything that happened for the last half a year?
Well, immigrants are
Ukrainian immigrants, Russian immigrants.
I don't know the numbers, but it's kind of, so Ukraine has been coming in big numbers since 2014. So it's already a lot of them here. So it kind of doubled. It's not so noticeable for me. There's more Ukrainians, but like, I don't know, no problems.
Yeah.
People complain, but as they do, yeah, but I don't feel like immigration is such a huge problem. It's 40 million. It's 40 million Poles now. Not Poles. Poland have 40 million population. Used to be 37 some. Not long ago.
Yeah. So 3 million during the last half a year.
We have low birth rate. So yeah.
And also not a huge language barrier, because Ukrainian and Polish is really close.
Well, not for me. I can't understand Ukrainian.
No, you don't understand.
Or Russian.
No, Russian is farther. Russian is farther than Polish, but
you see, that's how well I understand it. I can't even tell them apart.
I actually watched a video of a Polish, Ukrainian, Slovak, and Russian, all of them in a conversation, and everybody is speaking their own language.
That's fun.
And then you saw how well they understood each other. And what was surprising, that the Slovak understood everybody really well. And the person who was struggling the most to understand the other languages were the Russian. So it's like you really need to like think a lot about every single word to translate it to Russian.
Understand Russian, Ukrainian.
Yeah, but Ukrainian, because Ukrainian and Polish, they share a border, and it's kind of very similar, certain elements, but maybe the accent, and maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I need to learn to tell them apart at least. Really.
Yeah. What are your thoughts in general about what happened? And I don't know. Yeah. Well, because there's
a tragedy, or is it
because there's a certain reason why, well, at least philosophical reason, that Russia is combating the materialist American Western world. So this is how why the Americans in the Bridges of Meaning community is so tend to blame the Americans, because they're saying,
I don't understand that at all. I don't just get it. Why they blame themselves?
Because they're saying America is materialistic, and it's forcing itself on this traditional traditional society, and they want to
like how with McDonald's, yeah,
with everything, with all the materialism, with all this, like, yeah.
But what's wrong with that?
It's
what do you mean forcing? What they mean forcing?
Well, first of all,
what's the force?
The force is like the NATO expansion, and the way to do like the relationship towards homosexuality, the relationship toward family structures, all these elements are Russia for, I don't know, 15 years really combated and said, like, no, we don't want these liberal ideas be part of our nation. And when few of the conservative Americans look at that, they're saying, oh, like, good for them. That's excellent. And when the war is started, they said that there were a lot of argument that the West is the cause for the war, because the war like expanding, so NATO was expanding, and Ukraine was quite afraid of Russia.
So I feel like people will joining NATO. It's like you may look at it as NATO is expanding to these countries, but these countries, like they join NATO. It's not like NATO is forcing itself on these countries. They like Poland. We're happy to join. It's not like nobody feels forced.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't see this force. And Russia is not that conservative. They have, I think, abortion rate is very high. It's highest. I don't know the number, but I know it's very high for Western standards. Even. Yeah, and
the birth rate is very low also.
Yeah. Church attendance.
Church attendance get higher.
Yeah, but it's still low for Western standards.
For Western standards, still low? Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, it depends what kind of Western.
I heard 10% of people go to church.
That's a good question.
I may be wrong. I may be victim of propaganda or something. Yeah, check it out. But I heard it's 10%, I believe, of people going to church on Sunday. I don't think they are so traditional in Western sense.
Yeah, for me as well. I get to look at it from a certain parasitic point of view, because I do see a certain problem that the money from all the country is going for one region only, and this is mostly 80% to St. Peter, to Moscow, and 20% to St. Petersburg. So all the money of oil, all the money of these huge vast territories, and the benefits that come from that, going to very one small region.
Must be evil capitalism. Yeah.
Well, the argument now the argument is that it's modern colonialism. So this is what the idea is, that you force, like, you rape the country of India, and you make sure that people in London will live a really good life, something like that. And this is the argument now against Russia, that all the other regions of the nation is living quite poorly. Even people who are traditionally Russian and living not that far from Moscow, let's say like Rostov, which is, I don't know, 400 kilometers from Moscow. Even those people are living really poorly compared to the capital, and that's because there's no strong institutions, developing roads, developing medical systems, much worse than in the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union tried to do it well. and there's still corruption, but at least they tried, and now they're not even doing that. Well, and then again, I also very cautious because I was very hot-heady at the beginning of the war. I thought that, okay, maybe I need to go and fight in the Foreign Legion in Ukraine.
Because the feelings were wild.
I was crazy. I was completely out of my mind because I said, okay, I'm Israeli trained. I've been in the military.
They would take you in.
They like, I know my stuff. I think that what Russian is doing is wrong, and I should go to Ukraine and help them.
For PR reasons alone. They are being Koreans are being accused of being Nazis, So you're like Russian Jew, right there fighting for Ukraine. How Nazi is that? I'm joking.
I got you, but but then slowly I released my interest in the war because I understood, there's the propaganda of Russian are just not good compared to the one in the West. And the propaganda that we are getting from the Western side it feels to us as a battle between good and evil. But as reality is most of the time, it's much, much more complicated than that. And maybe to be involved in watching and trying to understand what's happening in the world is not healthy in my own personal life. And maybe, as Jordan advises, be more focused about the problems that you can solve here.
But sometimes you have to stand up for something.
Yes, but I don't think that's the thing that you stand up against. You stand up against when something is encroaching on your local, like on your room. When this room is in danger, when the community, the relationship that you build with the people around you are in some kind of a danger, sure, you can say something about it. But
it's too far from Poland. You may go from Poland.
even though maybe even that it's I don't know.
Closer,
Well, I understand. Like, I have a friend that is in my book club. He's an older gentleman in Spain, and his church is accepting a lot of immigrants, and a lot of immigrants coming to his church. And because of that, and he's an English teacher. So
where was that again?
In Spain.
Oh.
He's in Spain, and he hosted and hosting, I think still a family, as Ukraine family in his house, and he helped him with the visa and the papers, and he is in retirement from teaching English, and he went back to work because they asked him, because there's a lot of people right now who need to learn Spanish, English and Spanish, and he need to help them because there's something that like shook. So he is a person whose personal life got really involved in the war, although he lives in Spain. So I feel that he has much more right to say something about it than I do. He is kind of more skin in the game.
But he's more on one side. Let's say he's like more biased, maybe, because he's dealing with kind of.
Well, you always the bias. That's the idea. But this is a healthy bias. What I have is not a healthy bias. Because what I'm doing, I'm sitting on YouTube watching some reports by Polish people because I love those guys. They have good time and bad time. Oh, they're doing reports about the Ukrainian war. Excellent. They're doing it in English and they're from Poland.
Who are you watching? Who are you watching?
This is the YouTube name. They called
Bartosiak?
No. They called Good Times and Bad Times. They are Polish people from Poland, and they're doing reports in English, and it's with maps and visual, and they have the same accent as you are, which is amazing. And I highly recommend them. They're doing good reports. But then again, I'm looking at some reports and.
Oh yeah, My friend recommended them to me lately. Yeah.
They're good. I've been listening to them since the beginning of the war, and they've done something like visual politics. They talk about they talk about everything in the world, but when the war started with Ukraine, they just focus on that. And they scan Twitter and like they bring really interesting stuff. But then again, those people are bringing me news that went through a certain filter, and this filter this filter is bias, and this filter is kind of propagandistic. So me becoming involved emotionally with the war is because of them is really hard. Although I have a problem in my house and I don't know how to address it, because like me and my mother were very anti the war and like pro Ukrainians, for them to win. And my father is a more traditional person. He likes Russia, big Russia, strong Russia, imperialistic Russia. And so he's like really for them, and for them to win and to incorporate Ukraine back into, let's call it, the Russian Empire. And it's sometimes it's a problem just around the dinner table. So
yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. It's not just politics, it's just like happening for real.
And it's happening in the house with like sometimes and we try, because we love each other, we try to hold and not to step on one other's shoes.
If he's right, they will win, I guess. Evil, so good will win in the end.
Are you sure?
Most of the time it's poker.
You think it's
you might play it right and you may lose still, but on the long run it's gonna be. So I'll tell you my bias. My bias is if I don't understand situation, I support democracy. That's my bias. So Israel, there is some problems with somebody. I just support Israel based on its democracy. That's simple. Because democracy works so good, so I just support democracy. I don't get into the weeds. Here as well, I support democracy. It's just simple. And you move. So I have a guy at my work, and he's older guy. He remember communism. He argues it was better during the communism, and you can't really argue with him because he have some. He felt better. Yeah, it was better for him. So I try to look at the big picture, and I look where people move. So people flee from one part of the world and try to get to another. So I just assume it's better there. So I don't have to go into the weeds why communism is so bad. I just look at the people.
And
they flee. They flee. They are ready to leave their families, never to see them again, just to flee. And they don't coming back because they may go find out, okay, it's not so good in the West, and come back. But they don't really do that. A lot of them stay. Hardly anyone back. So that's my. And so I just assume it's better in the West, in democracies. And people all the time from totalitarianism, from these dictatorships, people just try to flee. So that's my bias. Simple.
Have you watched videos of Burn Power? Who's going to be in the...
I've seen one, I think, with Peugeot. I don't really remember. I remember I liked it, but I don't recall details.
The Peugeot conversation was such and such, so his...
Oh, so that's better.
Yeah.
I need to check it out then.
Yeah, his videos are really, really good. I watched everything for this 3 months since he was announced to come to Landau. So I watched...
Anyone in particular?
The cargo cult is good. It's 3 hours, a lot of visuals, but it's really, really good.
Send me a link.
I'll send you a link. And if you want a series that he talks about stuff, it's How We Got Here. And because he's going from the 50s until today, and he's covering a lot of cultural elements. So a lot of music, a lot of art, less politics, but some. And he exploring those kind of people, how they express the similar art, and how is this encroaching despair about modernity that he sees. But I just mentioned him because he's doing the opposite. He said, oh, I don't like this American kind of lifestyle. I will move to a country where there's more traditionalism. And he moved to Georgia. So
yeah.
So yeah. But he's like a minority. Most people saying, no, I don't want to live in Georgia.
People in Georgia are surprised.
They're coming to Israel to work as cleaners because there's better democracy, I guess, in Israel, as you said.
Yeah.
So
it's not for everybody.
But as you said the caveat at the beginning, it's your bias.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting to hear that, because there is a certain bias that we have toward democracy. And I think it was one of the recent Paul's videos that he talked about the managerial systems. And he said, oh, yeah, so there were the system of patronage that was working forever. And what it means that you, a person with the money, seeing somebody who has potential to do the society good, and you give him money. And we call it corruption.
How?
Well, he said like this is in the Roman times. If you have money, you just give a certain politician your money, and he doing with this certain stuff. He running for consul, he doing some kind of things, and it wasn't just in Roman times. In the Medici time, it was the same. It was the same in.
It's not the same in US now.
Now it's that's the idea that US is not really democracy. It's something kind of we can it's a debate for experts, not for us. And he's saying like so this was a system. It was a system of trust. So I have a certain connection to resources, and I will give them to somebody who I see as a good person to use them in the society. And I will give this consul, this politician, this a certain amount of money or my influence, and he will do with it good. And this is basically something that we call corruption. Yeah.
I would have to think about it.
Yeah, that's when he presented that, I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
Because kind of company. But US embassies have always two things. In every country, we have two things. We have protests, right? And they have queues for visa. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
You might say they have problems, but everybody wants to get there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And they have strongest military and stuff, so they're doing good. I don't know.
I wonder. I had a dream to immigrate to the US for many years, and I was actually kind of blaming my parents for choosing to come to Israel and not to the States, because half of my family is in the States.
Oh.
When during the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Jews could escape anywhere, and well, we're not basically Jews, but it was good enough. We were good enough Jews. Only my grandfather is a Jewish, so it was good enough. So the U.S. accepted all the Jews, and Israel was pleading the U.S. to stop accepting Jews because they wanted all the Jews to come to Israel. So half of my family managed to go to United States, and then when the Israeli asked the request, they stopped it. They closed the gates, and then all the Jews needed to come to Israel. So this is why half of my family here, half of my family there, and I blame my family for a long time not to go to the U.S. Why I need to live in this corner of the Western world where nothing happens and there's like boring stuff and everybody's.
Well, I heard different.
Yeah, okay. Not that nothing happened, but like there's war and there's like people are not educated and they throw the garbage everywhere and they not organized. Yeah, that's there's a problem with littering in Israel that you cannot even imagine. And people are driving here almost like in Mexico. It's so no, it's really hard for Israelis to come to Germany and to try to drive in Germany because like you feel like move. Come on,
we're moving too fast.
You're not moving. You're just stuck. Like we need to
fast enough.
We need to do this kind of things all the time.
It's exciting driving in Israel. Not so much.
It is exciting, and and it's not that in Europe. And so it takes us a few days until like people look at you like funny when you pass them. Like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And then you look, oh, so I'm the not normal here.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to come to US for many years, but I went there to work a bit, and I lived there for like 5 months, and I just was disgusted. I just was disgusted by something.
Where you have been?
In California.
Weather is terrible. I hate heat. I hate.
What? It's the same weather in Israel. It was like excellent. It was, I don't know. I like this weather. It wasn't that. It was just the fact that like you're buying stuff that you don't need. There's a lot of I don't know, bad. I now I can maybe differentiate these words that is very common, like it was shallow, it was materialistic,
and
it was
blah
blah.
When was it?
2009. It was 1 year after the economic crisis.
Now even Joe Rogan is disgusted, so it must be even worse. He used to love it there.
Yeah. And then I said, no, I hate that. I don't want anything to do with the US. It's not a place for me. Maybe I didn't see the north or the smaller village, like the not New York and Los Angeles, because I've been to New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco many times. There's something. Although my family from Texas, so I've been to Texas for a few times.
And how is Texas?
The same. I didn't like it.
Really?
I didn't like this. I don't know, something. I didn't like this something in the US mentality. Just the fact that they don't know history. They don't know anything about the world. They don't know anything about what outside of their own butt, their own country, and have no interest. And it's not like that in Europe. It's not like that in Europe. Europeans know history, at least. Why? Because the history was really, really painful to them.
And long.
And long, yes.
Yeah. US have very short history. Not a lot of stuff happened. I don't know.
Yeah. And that kind of element, and yeah, I just stopped dreaming about this place as a place for heaven.
Yeah,
like you always dream of heaven, and I during my childhood, US was heaven, and then it's just stopped. Like, no, I start to dream about New Zealand. and the reason is because if you look at the maps of the world, it's usually not there.
Really?
It's not on the map because it's like on the corner.
It's inconvenient. You need to scratch the map.
Yeah.
Just ignore these people.
Yeah.
Nothing important down there.
No.
Interesting.
Thomas,
I didn't notice.
Do you have before I need to finish our conversation, and I thank you for that. Do you have a last question to ask me, or a comment to say before we finish our talk?
I don't know. No, I think that's it. See you in Lando.
Yeah.
Okay, you're supposed to get your plant. You talk about plants.
Wow, you're right. I'm bad at that. Well, I'm changing my life to the better, but it's very, very slowly. So I cannot do like, okay, there will be a plant here. I know there'll be a plant in my room, and already like thought about it, but until there will be actually a plant somewhere here, it will happen in half a year or so. So
you need a little chaos in your order. It's like a city in a forest, but you have trees in a city. You have pathways in a forest. So we don't like total order without, some chaos. And if you go to the forest, we like to keep to the paths.
That's a good advice. Yeah.
We don't like to go totally wide in the forest, wild. We just go on the paths, and we feel like, we are in the forest, but we like little order there. Yeah, we don't like to get lost.
That's a good observation. I didn't thought about it. That's excellent. Thomas,
okay.
Thank you very much for the conversation, and we see each other in Landau.
Okay, see you there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye, Thomas.